Welcome to Jackie's Craft Table. Thanks so much for joining me for another card tutorial. I'm creating single layer cards today with a stamp set from My Favorite Things called Seaside Seagulls. I've made 3 short card videos using this set. Originally I had them combined onto one video, but it turned out to be way too long, so I thought I'd better separate them. I'm preparing the card bases for all of these cards. I'm using some Neenah Solar White 110-pound cardstock. Some of the cards are going to be portrait and some are going to be landscape. All of them are going to be standard A2 sized cards once I fold them, and that is 5.5 by 4 1/4. I'm going to score my cardstock, but I'm not going to fold it over just yet because I still need to do my stamping and my coloring. The images in this set are simple, but just cute as can be, so I thought they'd lend themselves well to single layer cards. I absolutely love single layer cards, and I love the challenge they present of creating a scene without all of the bells and whistles that we as card crafters just adore. And I'm talking about die cuts and enamel dots and sequins and all of those fabulous things. So I'm creating cards that are just simple and easy to mail out, but that are hopefully a lot of fun to look at. I'm stamping up my first seagull, and I wiped the ink off the bottom of that stamp, the wooden pole that the seagull is standing on, because I want the waves to go over that. The set came with 3 different ocean waves stamps, and I'm going to be using all 3 of them. It also came with some very cute clouds. I'm stamping my images a second time onto some sticky note paper, and this is the kind that's sticky along the whole back of it. I'm going to fussy cut these images and use them as masks so that they'll protect my card base when I do some ink blending with some distress ink. Now that I have all of my masks in place, I'm going to be using 3 different colors of distress ink. I'm using picked raspberry, spiced marmalade, and salty ocean. I'm trying hard not to get any harsh lines on my card base, so I tap off onto my scrap paper at the side before I bring my blending tool onto my card base. I'm going to use some water droplets to distress the ocean on my card. I just sprayed some into my hand, and then I'm just kind of flicking that onto the distress ink. I'm using my piece of scrap paper just to protect the rest of the card. Now for my favorite part, the unveiling. I'm going to peel off my masks, and you get to see how cute the images look with all of the pretty distress ink behind them. I'm going to stamp out some more waves onto the distress ink. And now I can begin my coloring. There isn't much work in coloring clouds and seagulls, so this part went really fast. I'll have the colors that I used listed over on my blog. Even though I used the 110-pound cardstock, the Copic markers did bleed through a little bit to the other side, but it wasn't enough to bother me. Next, I'm stamping one of the sentiments that came in this set. It says, "Wishing you happiness." I'm not going to stamp it in a straight line. I'm going to break it up, but I can't bear to cut up my stamps, so I'm going to mask them off as well. I'm using the same sticky note paper, and I'm just cutting it down to size. So I'm going to be stamping the word wishing first. So I masked off the other words, and then I can ink that up and then pull off the mask. This method works just as well as cutting them up would. I guess it's a little bit more work because you have to wash the stamp in between. I'm going to have the sentiment kind of cascading down the side of the card. So I'm inking up the second word. I pull off the masks and then I can just close the door of the mini Misty. Making sure to clean and dry off the sentiment really well so it doesn't transfer any water or shadow ink where you don't want it to be. I really like the fonts of these sentiments in this set. They're really simple and playful, just like the images of these cute birds. I forgot to color in the little wooden pole that the bird is standing on, so I'm doing that now. And then one of the waves I'm going to fix, it doesn't have enough blue on that, it's just a little white space. So I'm coming in with a Q-tip and a little bit more of the Salty Ocean Distress ink. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this card, you might want to check out my other 2 card videos using the same stamp set. Bye!